Good morning, everybody. It is The Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my headbanging partner in crime, my tag team partner in podcasting, the rambunctious Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning, Rob. Are we ready to jump into Monday night? Raw.
I'm ready. How about you?
I'm excited. We can jump right into it.
Go ahead.
I did want to say, because yesterday I had a tease, and I told you I'd tell you why I shaved my armpits.
That's right. And I've got information for you too. But what's your tease? I think is the lead. This is what we start with.
Well, and I feel like the payoff for my tease is better than Rod did last night with the payoff for the Kurt Angle tease. And we can get into that whenever we want. I think I have hyperhidrosis.
Does that mean you sweat a lot?
It's a ton of sweat. It's excessive sweat from the armpits. It's been well documented on this podcast. I get pit rings like crazy. I get crazy pit stains. I know you do as well.
Well, listen, when I was working with Jerry, Jerry and I worked together in 2003, 2004 through, I guess, 2005. And I've always known you to be a very, very sweaty guy, for sure.
Absolutely. And my armpits are the worst offender. If I'm working out, my gym clothes, they turn into it's like I jumped in a pool. That I can forgive. I'm okay with that. But I have to take 2 button-down shirts to a wedding. I have to disguise the way I wear my clothes when I go on a broadcast because I get these crazy pit stains and they come all the way out to here. Now, if you notice, I don't have them today at all. I've had this shirt on all day. And this is the biggest offending shirt. And I haven't worn it in almost a year. I decided to wear it today to test it out. So I shaved my armpits so I could apply this stuff I found online called Sweat Block. It's the strongest. It's like I'm rubber cementing my armpits. It's the strongest stuff you can get without a prescription in this country. And you have to wear gloves when you put it on. You can only dab it or it'll irritate the skin. You have to put it on before bed so you're not active at all for at least 5 hours.
This is crazy.
And it lasts 6 days. Dude, you know how they complain about it having 8% aluminum?
Yeah.
This is 80% aluminum.
Aluminum's supposed to give you cancer. Be careful.
They've always said, never let them see you sweat. They never said, don't give yourself cancer.
As long as you're okay with this, I
would.
would.
Look at it. No pit stains today. Come on.
Well, I mean, this is clearly an endorsement for the C blocker or whatever you called it.
Sweat block, dude. This is like Mexican back alley Botox type stuff. It's like I'm rubbing snake venom on my armpits, but it works. So you might want to try it. I know you sweat. You sweat too.
I don't sweat as badly as you. And it seems like it's had more of a negative impact on your life than it has on mine. So I'm going to stick with my right guard.
Now, all that's nonsense. It doesn't work for me. There's a problem, though. The problem is putting all of it on my armpits. The sweat's not coming out my armpits anymore. So now I have an overabundance of ball sweat. And I already shaved that area, and I'm not putting this stuff down there. So that's just how it's got to be.
That was my other question. So is it so sticky that it hurts your armpit hair, or why does that? You still haven't exactly said why you shaved your armpits yet.
So it recommends ways to make it most effective. And shaving your armpits, getting rid of excessive hair allows it to bond to the skin better. So
do you have to do this every day?
No. So the first time you try it, like I did it last night, I did it the night before, and I will do it tonight. So you do it 3 days in a row for the first time ever, and then it's good for 10 days. And then the next time I do it, I'll only have to do it once, and it'll last every 10 days.
This sounds like you said Mexican back alley stuff.
It's just like snake venom Botox, but it works. And so I'm here to say, sweaty Jerry Valeri is a thing of the past unless you go waist down, and then it's a mess.
I want to move forward and get to Raw, but where did you hear about this product?
I started Googling. I went through the top 10 antiperspirant list. I blew through that. It didn't work. And I didn't want to go to a doctor. So I didn't.
All right. Well, I'm glad to have learned on this podcast what you're doing to your armpits and why. And, well, now I'm going to miss the pit stains, I think.
I won't. I'm not going to.
Oh, good for you. And this has positively improved your life?
I think that it will. Yes, I am now, able to raise my hand with pride.
Good. Okay. Well, let's see here. I wanted to tell you I found a way to watch Raw last night live.
Awesome. So you got to see the whole show.
Yeah. You know what I did?
What?
Brittany saved the day, kind of. She said, try the USA app and you might be able to stream USA Live, because technically I have cable. It's just not streaming into my home until later on today.
Right.
So I was able to stream it to my phone, and then I realized, and I had tried to do this before unsuccessfully, but I was able to sling it from my phone, which is a Samsung phone, to my TV, which is also a smart Samsung smart TV. So it was like the quality of streaming on the network. It was great.
Perfect. I do that sometimes when the television's not working or the PlayStation's not working for me or it's getting glitchy. I'll just send my WWE network to the Apple TV, and it works like a charm.
Yeah, so that was what I did to legally watch Raw last night live, and I can say that I saw pretty much every second of Raw last night, for better or for worse. Yeah,
and there were parts where it was worse.
Raw was really long last night. There was a lot that didn't happen, in my opinion. It was not a great show. It wasn't terrible. They set up the
whole show was booked around two big things, and they took a very long time to get to both of those things.
That's true. The show did build to it. The end last night was really, I don't know exactly what time the reveal happened, but I think it was around the last hour. All you really needed last night was the last hour of the show.
You can predict it now at this point. There's always something at the top of the show that's good, right? And then they try to give you something that's going to grab you right at the top of the next hour, then the top of the next hour, and then to end the show. That's how they do it. So the way it starts with like the Shield reunion tease, then 9 o'clock gives you Enzo and Cass, 10 o'clock gives you the Kurt Angle thing, and then the end of the show gives you Roman and Joe. And it's very predictable, and you can see what they're going to do in each spot. You just don't know which one they're going to do. Or are they going to do Angle at 9, blah, blah, blah. But then they've got like this 30 minutes in between the top of the hour and the next top of the hour where it's just Cruiserweight Classic or Titus brand crap again, or you've got the Revival taking on the Hardys, and it's just not compelling.
Yeah, Raw suffered from being too long. Last night, it almost felt like 2 hours too long, to be honest with you. Let's go ahead and start with the big stuff. We had talked about the potential of one of American Alpha being Kurt Angle's son yesterday, although I kind of poo-pooed it. I also poo-pooed it on the post show yesterday. I wound up being wrong. I admit I've been out of the wrestling loop for the past week, and I'm not caught up yet. So I was a bit in the dark as to what was going on, at least as far as rumors and news goes this past week, or even the last 2 weeks.
I just don't understand why this was ever seen like this could ruin Kurt's family. And what it was made to be this big deal that was going to mess everything up, and it literally didn't mess anything up.
Yeah, it was a little weird in that respect. To be honest with you, I feel everything about this is weird. Everything about this is just weird. I think this is a weird angle for both these guys to be involved in. Doesn't mean it doesn't have potential to do something, but it's just weird. It's weird that they don't really look alike. And I think that it's weird that they broke up American Alpha when they had the potential to. They didn't really get enough time to breathe on the main roster, if you ask me. And the tag division kind of could use American Alpha. I don't know what they're thinking with this one.
That's all I thought when he comes out and they say the newest member of Raw. I just thought, what happens to Chad Gable? Like, that's all I thought about.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't really move the needle. I do think he kind of looks a little like Kurt Angle, but that's just because he has a thick neck and a bald head.
I guess, and then I mean, I'm also surprised just because he's Kurt Angle's son. Does that explain why he's drafted over to Raw all of a sudden? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And also, come to think of it, I meant to bring this up too. John Cena, the big deal about his return was that he was returning as a free agent, which I've been meaning to say bothered me because it made no sense storyline wise. But it's kind of a moot point because we haven't even seen him on Raw. Right.
He's over on SmackDown. He's in the middle of this thing with Rusev.
So why even say he's returning as a free agent in the first place? To me, it's all broken.
Sometimes I think they change their minds too late.
Maybe. That could be. So.
I don't know. The one thing that I'll give credit to Raw for is they definitely, I like the way they tell a story if they tell it properly. And I like them cutting to the back a lot. I like that you get the Miz Taraj leaving the building in a haste after everything. I like, as much as I'm disinterested in the cruiserweight stuff and the Titus Brand stuff, they gave that a lot of time backstage, and they're letting these people flesh it out a little bit. And I think it comes from me listening to Russo a lot, where I'm remembering the Attitude Era. The best thing about it was everybody was important, even the mid and lower card guys. Everybody had a story. And so it felt like they were trying to do that last night. It just was slow.
Yeah, well, I mean, one advantage the Attitude Era had was that they had just dedicated amount of time to tell their story. They had 2 hours on Monday. They had 2 hours on Thursday. They had one pay-per-view a month, and that was it. And that's nice. Now they have so much time to fill. You've got a pay-per-view every other week. You've got Raw and SmackDown. Raw now 3 hours. And then you've got all this content streaming to the network. There was so much about the way the Attitude Era told a story. It's so different now, and I really miss that way of telling the story. Like we talked about with what I call millennial booking and like the Jinder Mahal thing. Like the Jinder Mahal thing should have been so much more special if it just would have been booked over time instead of hastily.
Right.
And that's where the writing is suffering right now. I thought Raw was a little tough last night. I was just so excited to have my TV on after weeks of not being able to watch anything with this move. It was almost nice to just have a TV on in my house.
Absolutely. So if we start from the top and move our way to the end of the show, what did you think? Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and then the Miz Taraj. Boy, the Miz, again, he carries every feud he's in. He is just solid on the mic. And I like having Hawkins and Bo Dallas be threats.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like still as two people, they're less threatening than one person, which is like, it's almost like that J&J Security thing. Like if J&J Security were going to take on Kane 2 years ago or whenever they were around, you probably put the smart money's on Kane. And likewise, I feel like if the Miz Taraj, just the two of them, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, were to take on Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose, smart money's on Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins.
Well, and we're going to see that next week. You've got that 3-on-2 handicap match.
Yeah, although it's a little different when you put the Miz in, but they're being booked as half a person.
Yes.
So there's that. But no, I
like that segment.
The segment was fine. And yeah, it got me somewhat interested to see what they're up to next week, which is kind of the goal of, of booking. You want to make people excited to see you fight. That's the goal of good writing.
And they didn't need each other for a long, long time. But I think Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose both need each other again. I do.
Yeah, well, Seth Rollins especially, I feel like he's just spinning his wheels. I can't think of a time where he's been more dull. Even as 1/3 of the Shield, when the Shield was kind of like not getting traction, Rollins, I mean, I was going to say starting at the reveal of the video game cover, which was in Evansville, but it goes back way further than that. I mean, his whole return as a babyface has been a huge flop to me.
Really, the minute WrestleMania ended, so did any interest in Seth Rollins. People wanted to see him get revenge on Triple H just because that story had been playing out for 2 years. And the minute that ended, so did my interest in Rollins.
To me, I didn't even realize it, but it was all in his being a heel. Once he got injured and came back as a babyface, that was the end for me. I don't know what it is, but I can't stand seeing him anymore. It's just awful.
Yeah, and I hope he can get back to it because he's super talented.
Ambrose is stepping it up still to me. I don't have a whole lot of qualms with Ambrose right now, and he's being positioned the right way. Miz is just on fire. Everything he does is working for me, and yeah. So being positioned with being positioned with Miz is helping Ambrose out, in my opinion.
Right, and I loved the 176 chair shots to start the show. That was good.
Don't you miss the chair shots to the head, though? You know, it was kind of refreshing to see that in the Elias Sampson, Finn Balor stuff.
I loved it. The 6 strings to the skull, kapow, and that was actually supposed to hit him in the shoulder, and he cut him open with it. But it was awesome because I was like, why are they not letting him go full Jeff Jarrett honky tonk man and blast somebody with his guitar? And I was starting to get upset about it. And then last night, kaboom, there it is. And that's what I wanted to see.
There was a shot early on that never got replayed and never got, you never got to see a follow-up on it. But there was one shot where you saw a nasty bloody gash on Finn's head.
Yes.
It was big and it was distinct. And I remember because Brittany didn't see the shot I saw, and I was like, well, look for it because it was huge. And they never really gave you another good shot of it because it was when he was on the ground, you could just see it, but it was a big gash.
Yeah, it was a rough night for the PG era because 2 times in 30 minutes, you had 2 different superstars bleeding on camera.
Who was the first or second? Which one? What's the other one?
Big Show started bleeding somewhere from his nose or eye. He got cut. It looked fake at first, but then I think he got cut the hard way.
Yeah, I don't think that they're blading on Raw. And then even on the pay-per-view, remember Matt Hardy got busted open too?
He got destroyed with like a seemingly uneventful uppercut.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. And it was like, it was his eye or like the orbital bone. It wasn't even like the nose, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was coming out like he'd been stabbed. But yeah, Big Show was bleeding a little bit, and I liked it. And then Finn took the El Cabongo right to the head, and I was into that. Like, give Elias. I like Elias Sampson. I think that he is a character that is an okay mid card guy. Let him hit some people with the guitar and see what he can do. And then he's done with Finn now. I mean, they're gonna have their no disqualification next week, but you can't tell me Bray Wyatt's not showing up for that.
Man, just imagine if Raw, you took the Ambrose segment from the beginning with Ambrose and the Miztourage, you took that Elias Sampson segment, you take we'll take Enzo Cass and Big Show, and then you take the last hour of Raw. So you've got a 2-hour show.
Awesome.
It would be great, but instead they make it so you give me all this cruiserweight and women's stuff. Like it's just driving me nuts how this 3rd hour is just killing the show for me.
Why can't they have a women's feud without all the women being in it? Like I'm so confused by all of it. So you have Sasha Banks and she's fighting Bayley, and then Nia Jax comes out, and then the next thing I know, Sasha Banks and Bayley are fighting about a championship. I mean, they're two. You can have an angle where not every woman's involved with it. So you're absolutely right. Like I love the Enzo and Cass stuff, the Elias Sampson stuff, the Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, all the way to the end. But there was just so much crap that I felt like I was having a hard time getting through it.
Or I almost wish that like I'd even be cool with them making the first hour of the show 205 live and just take 205 live off the network and make it. You can even make it a different part of like, it doesn't even be called Raw at that point. Just make it called 205 Live And it's on the program guide on your TV that way. It's not even Raw yet until the second hour starts.
I have to. I don't think I ever will, but I need to go back and I want to watch some Nitros. I want to see, because they used to do it. They used to separate the cruiserweights, and I enjoyed it. And I don't know what the difference is. I don't know what the
they didn't separate the cruiserweights. What do you mean separate the cruiserweights?
They didn't separate the cruiserweights, but they would have cruiserweight matches. It wasn't like purple ropes or anything like that. They were on the show, but they had their. You never saw very rarely did you see the outsiders taking on some of their cruiserweights. They had cruiserweight matches. They had their luchador matches.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, well, first of all, both companies did things like that, but you would see. I mean, you had Kidman taking on a big feud with Hulk Hogan for a minute.
That's later. I'm talking before, like Jericho and Dean Malenko and those guys even come over to Raw. Well, when they're doing Nitro, it seemed more separated, but they did it in a way that I liked it, and now I can't stand it.
Well, look at the WWE, right? When they kind of launched their light heavyweight championship, and you'd have Taka Michinoku feuding with Val Venus, and it didn't need to be for the light heavyweight championship. I mean, there was that you need to intermingle them, and and they're not doing that. Let one night Neville beat Matt Hardy out of nowhere. Who cares? They're just not. They're not mingling them. I can't even. This is when I see purple, I just mentally tune out.
It's like they learned a trick, how to make the ring ropes purple quick enough, and then they're like, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it twice. They do it twice.
I don't know. It's just it's rough. I don't know how else to explain it. And then I guess what else is there really besides the main event to talk about? Is there anything huge that we're missing?
Well, I loved the Enzo and Cass stuff. I Cass and Big Show, that interests me. It's going to get Cass over. I'm okay with it.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's a good choice.
Then we're both disappointed with the Angle stuff. We can say that.
I mean, I'm gonna be open-minded about it. I just got a really weird vibe from it. Like, it's just one of those like suspending disbelief things. Like, if this was real life, so okay, Kurt Angle's father, a kid in college, and that kid happened to be a SmackDown superstar named Jason Jordan. Okay, I can get past that. It's wrestling. Like, it's just like that's not the way humans behave. The way Angle did this with Corey Graves, and just everything was just weird. I'm still hoping there's things that we're not privy to yet.
There needed to be something more scandalous. There needs to be a scandal there. They build it up like a scandal, and then it's not one.
And I'm nervous about these guys, both Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. I'm worried about both these guys on their own. I think that they might be stronger as a team.
Yeah, I hope it works out for them. I'm going to give WWE benefit of the doubt with that. I just know the execution last night. I think it was six and a half minutes. It was lasted 7 minutes, and nobody really cared. They were chanting the whole way through it.
I watched. I'm sorry. I was going to say I watched the post thing too with Angle and Jordan, and it didn't get any better.
No.
Renee Young was doing a sit down with both of them, and it was like a real kind of thing. But it didn't. Nothing. You missed nothing if you didn't see it. As they just clarify that yes, he's the son. I believe they did say that next week he's going to address the main event situation, which is another thing we didn't get any clarity on.
The one thing I took from it the most, and I got it from last night, and I got it from the WWE 24 with Kurt Angle. Did you watch that yet?
No, but I'm excited to.
Okay, here's what you're going to get from those two things. Kurt Angle can't say WWE correctly. he's like WWE, like he can't say it, dude.
It is closer to Yabba Dabba Doo than it is to WWE. You're right. I've noticed that time and time again. He never says it's like WWE is kind of
WWE.
yeah. That is such a great observation that I can't believe we haven't brought up before.
Well, I noticed it during the 24. I was like, is he?
Oh no, I know.
He does it like 19 times in that hour.
You can. I mean, I would say it jumped out at me at the Hall of Fame.
And then last night he's like, "W yummy. How did it do?" He sounds like the Grease Man.
Ooh, dabble dabble.
Oh, double, double, double.
I'm sure no one watching this knows the Grease Man. I'm sure, but he was a.
Well, that's their problem. That's a you problem. Post show. Google the Grease Man and start learning references outside of wrestling.
People watching are probably like, was he a wrestler in the Georgia region in the 1970s?
The Grease Man had a huge program with the Repo Man, and
what has happened? I guess.
All right.
The Grease Man is a radio reference and not a wrestling reference to those who dabble dabble.
Yeah,
we're making these weird sounds because that's what the Grease Man used to do when he was talking. Doodle doodle.
He go doodle doodle, apple dabble, and that's exactly what Kurt Angle does when he says double double.
Man, I will probably be the only one who will appreciate that joke, but that was stellar. That was really funny.
Thank you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you and just you. Yeah, go to the end, baby. Take us home.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't want to stretch out a podcast. It doesn't need to be. They don't all need to be half an hour long or whatever. But that's what I took from Raw. SmackDown is tonight. You
didn't mention the main event though.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. I wasn't giving it my full attention, to be honest with you, last night. But I knew there was going to be like a non-finish. So that's probably why. Their match in Evansville was stellar. I didn't get that vibe last night, although I admit I wasn't paying the most attention to it. What were your thoughts?
Roman and Joe, I thought, were killing time in their match. It was an okay match. They weren't giving away anything. They didn't want to give away a good match, I don't think. And so they did about 6 or 7 minutes of dancing around and doing some stuff and hitting hard, that kind of thing. And then Braun comes out and smokes them both. And I thought the way Braun dominated Joe and Roman Reigns, it's like, are they trying to apologize for what they did when he backed away from The Undertaker like a scared little kid?
I think they want to get him over, and it's working.
It's working. I mean, when he comes out, everybody runs.
He, to me, makes the most sense for Brock at SummerSlam.
I hope it happens. I think it's a fatal four-way, don't you think?
I want to say no. I want to say no, but I mean, I wanted to say no about Kurt Angle's secret being Jason Jordan. So Here's what I think. I keep reading that the plans are being changed to, but here's what I think. The ultimate plan was to have Brock and Reigns at WrestleMania. And then I'm here, which I think is a believable plan. And then I'm hearing that things got fast-tracked to SummerSlam because that's millennial booking. We can't book a year out. We can only book up until SummerSlam.
Right.
So I hear that they want to change it over to Brock and Reigns at SummerSlam. I think you can stretch this until WrestleMania personally, because you had the Joe thing. You could give Brock Joe again and still maintain a whole lot of interest there. And you can still feed Brock Strowman. Or there's even the potential of like Balor and Bray Wyatt still. I think you can hold this until WrestleMania, but I don't think that they will. So
where does Reigns go? Where does Reigns go? He's got to get out of this thing with Braun at some point, and I don't know the next place for him to go.
That's easy. I feel like that can be anywhere. I mean, it can be with the Shield. It could be, or to help him with the Miz. So that's 3-on-3. It can be.
That's the most unfair 3-on-3 ever.
If they do that 3-on-3, they might as well have the Miz Tarras dressed in the bear suit. And I mean, you could give him to Bray. You could get Balor in there. I mean, I think there's a lot. I mean, what about Jason Jordan Angle? You know, I mean, there's the Triple H could come back. I don't know. I feel like that's the easier question to answer than what do you do with Brock. So
yeah, I think eventually we're going to see Braun Strowman get a title shot. I don't think they're ever going to put the title on Braun. But who knows? I mean, they're pushing him to the moon right now. They've made him a legit monster.
And I'm probably missing the biggest one to answer your question regarding what to do with Reigns. The next logical step for Reigns isn't even Brock. It's actually Joe.
It's Joe.
So, all right, man. Anything else you want to toss in before we get on out of here?
No armpit sweat.
Look at him. He went through a whole podcast, no armpit sweat. He's got cement in his pits, you know, in his pores. That's why he's literally put a cork in his pores.
I mean, from the waist down, it looks like I'm in a kiddie pool.
So
dabble.
And on that note, why don't I get the I'll cue the music and say from the this one's for the Grease Man.
It's WWE. I don't know why.
Remember
you
how
want the gold medal, Kurt? It's WWE. You hurt your neck, not your brain.
Remember how the ECW fans used to chant like EC Dub, EC Dub?
Right.
I guess there's just a group of people that that's how you say W, it's just dub.
WWE. That's a Jim Ross thing there. WWE.
Remember that channel, the WB, and they had that frog that'd go dub 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 WB. Let's get out of here.
That was Grease Man's frog.
Ooh, double WB.